The Austin yogurt shop murders shocked the world in 1991. 4 teenage girls were brutally killed, and the case has remained one of the most haunting, unsolved crimes in history. But hidden in plain sight, behind the headlines, are facts so disturbing, they'll make you question everything you thought you knew about that night. Number 1. The girls weren't just killed, they were restrained. When investigators first entered the yogurt shop that December morning, they walked into a scene so horrific that many officers would later say they could never forget it. The victims weren't found scattered randomly. They were tied up, bound with their own clothing, gagged to silence their screams. Even in death, their final moments revealed just how much control the killers had over them. That single detail changes everything about how we understand this crime. This wasn't a random break-in gone wrong, or a panicked robbery. Whoever did this had time. Time to corral 4 teenage girls, to strip them of their autonomy, and to stage a scene that was more like an execution than a spur-of-the-moment act. The fact that they used the girls' own clothing to bind them is also telling. It suggests planning, improvisation, or maybe even a sick desire to humiliate the victims further. Every knot tied, every gag forced into place, was another act of domination. And it raises chilling questions. Were there multiple attackers working together? Did the girls know them? How long did they have to endure the fear before their lives were taken? And then there's the fire. After the murders, the yogurt shop was set ablaze, reducing much of the evidence to ash. But why? To cover their tracks? Or was it yet another layer of cruelty, an attempt to erase the girls completely, as if they had never existed? This detail, that the victims were tied and gagged before being killed, doesn't just make the murders brutal, it makes them haunting. It suggests the killers weren't simply there to rob or destroy. They were there to control, to terrorize, and to make sure the girls suffered until the very end. Number 2. Years after the murders, investigators zeroed in on 2 suspects, Robert Springsteen and Michael Scott. Both were young men at the time of the killings, and after hours of questioning, they confessed. But their stories didn't line up. The details shifted, depending on who was in the room, and much of what they admitted didn't match the physical evidence. Still, their words were enough. Prosecutors moved forward, and both men were convicted. It should have been closure. Instead, it became another dark chapter. Because the truth is, those confessions were coerced. Investigators pushed and pushed until the suspects broke. They said what they thought the police wanted to hear. And for years, the public believed the case had been solved. But science told a different story. When DNA evidence was tested, neither man's profile matched the crime scene. It was definitive. Robert Springsteen and Michael Scott were innocent. Their convictions were overturned, but not before they had spent years behind bars for murders they didn't commit. Think about what that means. 4 young girls were killed in one of the most haunting crimes in Texas history, and the only people punished were 2 innocent men. The real killer, or killers, walked free while lives were destroyed on both sides. What makes this even more disturbing is how easily it happened. How quickly the justice system was willing to accept shaky confessions over hard evidence. It's not just a story about murder. It's a story about how desperation for answers can create more victims. And it leaves a chilling thought behind. If this could happen in such a high-profile case, how many other wrongful convictions might be hiding in the shadows? Honestly, these aren't the only disturbing details about this case. If you think there are more than 3, let me know in the comments what stands out to you the most, because every layer of this case reveals something darker. Number 3. From the very beginning, the investigation was chaotic. The fire had destroyed much of the scene, but what remained should have been protected. Instead, pieces of evidence were contaminated, stored improperly, or simply overlooked. Tips poured in, but many were dismissed without follow-up. Some eyewitness accounts described suspicious men near the yogurt shop that night. Yet, those leads went nowhere. Even the DNA evidence that later cleared Springsteen and Scott only deepened the mystery. The profiles recovered didn't match the victims or the suspects or anyone in the system. To this day, the identity of the person, or people, behind that DNA remains unknown. It is a ghost in the file, proof that the killers left a trace, but not enough for justice. And then there's the question of motive. Was it robbery? The register was emptied. Was it sexual assault? Some of the victims showed signs. Or was it something darker? A thrill killing designed to terrify the city. The truth may have been hidden in the evidence that was lost forever. What makes this fact so disturbing isn't just the mistakes. It's the possibility that the case could have been solved. Had the evidence been preserved. Had the leads been followed. 4 teenagers died. The city was scarred. And yet the answers slipped through the cracks. The yogurt shop murders remain unsolved. Not because the killers were perfect, but because the investigation wasn't. And that failure has left families and an entire city haunted for more than 3 decades. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to hear more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you soon with the next case.